What's up, fight fans? And we're back at it with another one here at Round One Sports Talk. Well, Saturday night was a UFC night as Sean O'Malley and Aljamain Sterling went at it in the Boston Garden. Yes, we were in the building. This is the official shirts at inside you can purchase right here at UFC 292. It was an amazing night, and it was really good to be in the in the building in Boston. The garden was electric, the atmosphere. Man, oh man, I wish you could be there with me. I wish I could just bring you guys with me. Hey, listen, what an amazing fight. The undercard too, Wei, she defended her title against that Brazilian girl. Man, that Brazilian girl was putting up a good fight. In person, they look a lot faster than they do actually on TV. I'm just going to let you know that right now. O'Malley and Sterling go at it. They get into the ring. And leading into the fight, on a lot of betting websites, and we were in a suite watching the fight. So there were some people in there with us, and they were all convinced that Sterling was just going to walk down O'Malley, and that O'Malley didn't stand no chance because that they had hyped up this guy to being the greatest 135-pounder in the world in the UFC. And I kind of questioned that, and I was having a conversation with a gentleman there, and I was telling him, wow, you really think that he's the greatest 135-pounder in the world just because he beat a retired Henry Cejudo? If I don't go to the gym for 30 days and I come back into the gym just after 30 days, bro, I feel sluggish, and I feel like I lost a step, and I'm trying to get it back in the gym. Never mind being out for 2 years and thinking that you're going to come back and be the man you once was. You guys are just betting him on his name. That was a big name, Henry Cejudo, for the things that he accomplished in the UFC, but you didn't fight the real Henry Cejudo. Okay? And let's just think about the other people that he fought. Yeah, you won the belt by a disqualification from Peter Yan. You ran it back with Peter Yan. And if that fight went either way, I wouldn't have complained about it. So attached to your legacy is you won the fight by an illegal knee strike, a disqualification. And when you ran it back with that champion, it could have went either way. It wasn't a dominant performance. I wouldn't say it was a lackluster performance. But you were right there and there with the former champion. A TJ Dillashaw, his shoulder popped up 10 times in the fight. Somewhere around there. I'm not sure exactly how many times it popped out. But it popped out a lot, right? So, that's talk about a hype job. The way that the ESPN and YouTube and everyone else, was hyping this guy up like he's the best next thing, that we've never seen 135 pounds. You got to understand that they're going to do that with every fighter, right? And Sean O'Malley's only biggest fight on his resume was beating Peter Yan. Now, he beat Peter Yan better, in my opinion, than Aljamain Sterling did, right? But what do I know? So I go into the fight, and they ask me, who do I have? And I said, bro, I got the kid, Sean O'Malley. I like the wrestling of Aljamain Sterling, yes, but he's no Khabib. He ain't got no Khabib wrestling skills. So the way that O'Malley showed against Peter Yan, when Peter Yan tried to take him down and he kept stuffing the takedowns, I said to myself, I think you guys are underestimating this kid's O'Malley's wrestling skills. Yeah, he might not have been on the ground a lot, but that's not his thing. He don't like it. But it doesn't mean that he can't wrestle, right? And he was just that much bigger than Sterling. So when in the second round, we were sitting there. It was beautiful because me and my son, we were there together. Shout out to my son that he put all this stuff together and took me to the UFC fight, right? And gave me such an amazing night. So we're sitting there and we're watching the fight, right? And man, it came out of nowhere. It seemed like he started getting desperate. He wanted to grab him so bad, right? And put his hands on him, that at some point in the fight, I think he started to lose a little composure, and he started applying pressure to O'Malley. O'Malley, he that's what he loves. He's a counter puncher, a slick kind of a sharpshooter, and he's got a massive right hand. So he knew that if he came in, all he had to do was do that step back and hit him and knock him right out. Okay, now the reason why I bring up this fight in the UFC and everything too, because somehow it's correlating with boxing, right? Right after the fight, no sooner that Sean O'Malley wins the belt, he gets up in the post-fight interview, and who does he call out? The one and only Gervonta Tank Davis. Yes, sir. Which is ridiculous, but a lot of superstars are doing this crossover with the UFC and boxing, and I kind of think that is good for the sport because, listen, if it tunes in eyes to the fight and it got you and me talking about it, then it has to be good for the sport. And now I'm not going to go up against the UFC with boxing and everything because I love all combat sports. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure that you guys do too. But like I said, for him to come out and call Gervonta Tank Davis, right, which is crazy. And now here we go again with Gervonta Tank Davis. We always want him fighting for a belt. We want him to fight Devin Haney. And then here comes these people on social media pulling Gervonta Tank Davis away from the fights that he needs to be fighting to fight these fights that, yeah, they make dollars and cents, but they don't make legacy sense. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you guys wanted him to fight Ryan Garcia. Yeah, you guys wanted him to fight X, Y, and Z, right? And a lot of the fights were you guys asking him to fight his last fights. Coming up, he kind of fought with whoever was there. Once he got into celebrity popular status, now you got people like Sean O'Malley on a post-fight interview calling you out. So I don't know if I generally support that move right now for Gervonta Tank Davis. That's the kind of fight that maybe you can have, later on, when you retire from the sport, you could put an exhibition up with Sean O'Malley. And maybe you and Sean O'Malley can put up an exhibition on, on your terms. But for right now, I think Gervonta Tank Davis needs to secure his eye on the prize, which are those belts, because O'Malley got his belt. O'Malley's not worried about being called the world champion anymore in his career. That is one thing you cannot take away from that kid. Last night, he became the 135-pound world champion of the world. So, that was pretty impressive the way he did it, in the second round, 51 seconds, knockout. I believe that the fight could have went on a little bit longer, but I believe that at that point, it would have been the same outcome. Had the referee let that fight go, okay, Aljamain Sterling would have suffered more damage, and it would have got way more damage, and then he would have been stopped. Right now, his eye could have been split. His nose could be broken. At that point, I did see his eyes roll back like 2 or 3 times, though, and I thought that they were going to call the fight then. You know what I'm saying? But it kept O'Malley kept rolling his eyes back with the right hand and waking him up with the left hand. It was like, boom, out, wake up. Boom, out, wake up. I was like, yo, okay, stop hitting him with your left. He might just go out. Because he was out on his way down. When O'Malley hit him with that right, if you go back and watch the highlights, he catches him with the right. He just dropped. His body went limp. But when he was going on the way down, he rolled him and he hit him. Bam, he woke him up. And then when he was scrambling, that he threw that up kick, that O'Malley shifted to the side, came down with that right, his eyes rolled back in the back of his head again. Notice he hits him with the left, with the hammer fist. Boom, wake up. And he wakes him up again. I'm like, yo, you keep knocking him out, waking him up. So listen, it was an amazing night. I just want to do a little quick video on it. I have some more things, coming about. My studio situation's a little up and down all the time. You guys know this, but I am going to lock this down for you guys, people. Listen, it was an amazing night. Please like, subscribe, share your love on this video. And like always, I'm on to the next one. Peace.